The Commonwealth Heads of Government is a biannual summit meeting of the de facto leaders from all Commonwealth nations. Despite the name, the head of state may be present in the meeting instead of the head of government, especially among the semi-presidential states. Rwanda joined the Commonwealth Heads of Government in 2009 and is hosting the 26th edition of the event that runs from the 20th to 25th of June. Speaking at the opening of the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, President Paul Kagame welcomed all the delegates.
Your Highnesses, Your Majesties, Your Excellencies, Secretary General, special guests, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure and honor to welcome you to the 26th Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, the 6th in Africa, and the first since our world was turned upside down by a devastating pandemic.
President Paul Kagame then paid tribute to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II for a Jubilee milestone and spoke about why Rwanda, a new member of the Commonwealth, decided to join the Commonwealth group.
Join together to pay tribute to Her Majesty the Queen, the head of the Commonwealth, and its most devoted champion. Over her 70 years of service, the Commonwealth has grown both in number and in the scope of its ambition. The fact of holding this meeting in Rwanda, a new member with no historical connection to the British Empire, expresses our choice to continue reimagining the Commonwealth for a changing world. The Commonwealth does not replace other institutions. It adds to them.
Kagame gave special recognition to the Amel of Qatar for gracing the occasion.
With us. This year, let me recognize in particular His Highness the Emir of Qatar, and I thank him for being here with us.
Kagame then talked about the kind of Commonwealth he envisions.
We need is on the front lines of global challenges, not on the periphery, watching events unfold. Our special strength is to bring issues into focus that might otherwise be overlooked. For instance,
Kagame also explained what defines the Commonwealth.
The values enshrined in the Commonwealth Charter and a commitment to good governance, the rule of law, and the protection of rights. That's why we shall always remain open to new voices and new members.
He closed with a brief of history of his country.
Ours is a country that was torn apart by genocide and division just a generation ago. Today, we are a nation transformed in heart, mind, and body. Three-quarters of our population are young people with no memory of those events.
Leaders of the Commonwealth countries meet every 2 years for the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, Kagame, hosted by different member countries on a rotational basis. Since 1971, a total of 24 meetings have been held, with the most recent being in the UK in 2018.
The Youth Forum marked the first day of the Commonwealth Heads of Government Meeting 2022 in Kigali, Rwanda.
I believe our first step in the right direction begins with the recognition that our youth population is our greatest untapped asset.
The day began at Intare Conference Arena with welcoming speeches from representatives of the Rwanda and Commonwealth Youth Councils, the Deputy Secretary General of Commonwealth, and a keynote from Rosemary Mbabazi, the Minister of Youth and Culture, Rwanda.
It is my utmost pleasure to officiate the opening ceremony of the Commonwealth Youth Forum 2022 under the theme, Taking Charge of Our Future.
Youth delegates met in plenaries and breakout meetings to discuss important topics ranging from entrepreneurship and technology to sustainable cities. The leaders of the Commonwealth Youth Committee vocalized their enthusiasm for the unity and opportunity that membership of the Commonwealth brings.
Yes, young people are responsible for taking action. I feel excited that it brings young people together and share ideas that we can go out there, be motivated, and go out there and take action, which is crucial.
The day ended with the launch of a Sustainable and Clean Energy Action Group and a Commonwealth Youth for Sustainable Urbanization Network.
I look forward to witnessing what we can achieve together in one voice, the voice of the Commonwealth.
Good morning. My name is David Tuvi, and I'm a proud Australian citizen and a citizen of Rwanda as well. It is my pleasure to welcome the leaders of the Commonwealth nations and their representatives to the stage. We begin with the Permanent Secretary of Foreign Affairs and External Trade of the Solomon Islands. The Ambassador of Vanuatu to Europe. The High Commissioner of Papua New Guinea to the United Kingdom. The Minister of Foreign Affairs of Malawi. The Minister of Foreign Affairs of Sri Lanka. The Minister of Foreign and CARICOM Affairs of Trinidad and Tobago. The Minister of External Affairs of India. The Minister for Justice, Communications and Foreign Affairs of Tuvalu. The Minister of Foreign Affairs of New Zealand. The Minister of Foreign Affairs of Malaysia. The High Commissioner of Fiji to the United Kingdom. The State Minister of Foreign Affairs of Pakistan. the Minister of Foreign Affairs of South Africa. The Minister for Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade of Barbados. The Minister of Foreign Affairs of Cyprus. The Vice President of the Gambia. The Prime Minister of Mozambique. The Prime Minister of Tonga. The Prime Minister of Samoa. The Prime Minister of Belize. The Prime Minister of the Bahamas. The Prime Minister of Cameroon. The Vice President of the United Republic of Tanzania. The Deputy Prime Minister of Malta. The Deputy Prime Minister of Australia. The Minister of Finance, Economic Planning, and Information Technology of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The Minister of Foreign Affairs of Bangladesh. The President of Zambia. The President of the Seychelles. The Prime Minister of Lesotho. The President of the Maldives. The President of Botswana. The President of Ghana. The Prime Minister of Antigua and Barbuda. The President of Nigeria. The Prime Minister of Jamaica. The Prime Minister of Mauritius. The President of Sierra Leone. The President of Guyana. The Prime Minister of St. Lucia. The Prime Minister of Canada. The President of Kenya. The Prime Minister of Dominica. The President of Uganda. the Sultan of Brunei Darussalam, the King of Eswatini, the Prime Minister of Singapore, the President of Namibia, the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, the President of Rwanda, and the Secretary General of the Commonwealth, the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, the President of Rwanda, the Secretary General of the Commonwealth, I now invite you all to stand as we welcome His Royal Highness, the Prince of Wales.